What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the WiseTake MLB DFS Wise stream. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I, of course, am from the WiseTake Nation, which you can find on the social media platforms listed above or directly at WiseTake.com. If you're looking to take your DFS game to the next level, we are a premium DFS content provider as well as a DFS community designed to help make you a better DFS player. Go check us out at WiseTake.com. Day pass is available. All that good schnit. If you were watching on YouTube and you just found us for the first time, welcome. You came to the right place for some free DFS content. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit the notifications bell. Don't miss out on any of the free content we do. Covering MLB Monday through Friday. We do pre-lock streams for the NBA, but that is behind our paywall at WiseTake.com. But MLB action, man, we're doing it for free, doing it for the nation, getting dirty on them. Now, we do have premium content over at the site for baseball, projections, cheat sheets. I write a core plays article. Paulie does a dirt sheet, which is a quick little Google sheet that we make, and has his player pool, his favorite stacks, all that good shit. So plenty of content. But regardless of any of that, if you're here, you're starting off on the right foot. Yesterday's slate was fucking wild, man. Yesterday's slate was just crazy. Just the bats, man. It was such a good pitching slate on paper. And there were a few really good pitchers. Giolito did really well. Obviously, Biebs, man, that was our top pitcher on the day. And we got him at lower ownership on FanDuel than I really thought we would get. So I'll call that a win. Success. He was like 13% on FanDuel. Crazy. Bauer was like 35%. Bauer did really well. We were high on him, too. Pitchers that didn't do well for me. Steven Strasburg ended up being sort of a trap. He was really cheap on DraftKings, got his tits lit. I also liked Castillo. He got lit the F up. He did recover a little bit, but not relative to what the upside of those other guys were. And at the end of the day, you need that upside, right? When you got a lot of good pitchers like that, you're going to expect at least some of them to do thy dirty to thy neighbor, and that's what happened. Coffee is cold. Gotta be either iced coffee or hot coffee. This middle ground shit tastes like shit. Especially when you drink it black. Anyway, so we'll see what happens today. We're going to cover the main slate here. I know there's an early slate, and I'm going to try to get this show done so I can throw some teams in there just to have something to sweat while I research the night slate. We got NBA action tonight, so a lot going on as per usual at the WiseTake Nation. We appreciate y'all. And we're going to jump into this main slate. Lance McCullers. Again, this is in DraftKings pricing order, so we're going to just do that. Lance McCullers. Last season, he was what he was. Pretty solid pitcher, right? That's what he is. I got really nothing bad to say about the guy. Let me pull up his schnit. Strikeout rate was solid. Last year it came in at about 24.7%. We combine that with this year, it's up to 28. Again, it's a very small sample. We'll work with last year's numbers for the time being. 11.6% swing and strike rate. His biggest issues have always been walks, and lucky for him, he's facing a Detroit Tigers team that really doesn't walk a lot, right? We got a couple guys in the nines, like Candelaria, 9.4%, Grossman, 9.4%, but a lot of strikeouts and not a lot of walk rates. The Tigers have been hot, full disclosure. They've been red hot right now. But I think McCullers and his ground ball rate could probably combat some of that, right? He's got really solid ground ball rates. That's kind of what he's always been known for, in addition to his strikeouts. Last year, he was a little reverse splitsy, right? He had a 408 WOBA to righties, 292 ISO to righties. Compare that to a 284 WOBA to lefties and a 198 ISO. But he also struck out more lefties, 31.2% to lefties, 23.4% to righties. The ground ball rate was neutral, so meaning that it was good to both sides. And he does give up a lot of hard contact. We want to keep that in mind. And I suspect he'll be popular. I think my main concern with McCullers, especially when he's super expensive, is it's taking him a lot of pitches to get where he's got to go. So he's had 2 starts this year, and both were pretty good. They were both against Oakland. Only gave up 2 hits in each game, 1 earned run in each game. But, for instance, 95 pitches in the first game for 5 innings. Second one was 88 pitches through 5 innings. So maybe he could have went more the second time. But on FanDuel, if you're paying this kind of money, you need that quality start. And it's a little scary. He's going to get us that quality start. On DraftKings, if he gets enough strikeouts and his whip stays low, it's fine. But still, I mean, as of right now, looking like one of the better options, I would say, right? I think he'll be pretty popular in cash games. He's at home. So there's certainly some things going for him. What's not going for him, of course, is that the Tigers have been red hot. But overall, we expect the Tigers to be a little more closer to the Tigers of last year. They've been fucking on another planet so far this year. Zach Plesac, another one. ERA was significantly lower than the xFIP and Sierra last year, and you can see his batting average balls in play was really low, indicating that he may have been a little bit lucky. Gives up a lot of fly balls. Not as good as a ground ball guy. The park is not great. He's playing a White Sox team in Chicago that the park doesn't play out to be that great. But he does have some strikeout stuff. Last year at a 27.7% strikeout rate, which is pretty solid, I'd say, right? Let's pull him up. Pull him up. Give me that shit. 14.3% swing and strike rate last season. Pretty solid. I like this kid. There was two of them, right? There's him, and I forgot he has a teammate who's also young. I like Plesac significantly more than the other guy. Now, the White Sox do have some strikeouts mixed in between their lineups. Luis Robert, 35.9% last year. Yoan Moncada, 29.9%. Grandal, 29.8%. But then they got some guys that are a little tougher to strike out. Adam Eaton, 18.6% last year. Garcia, 18.8%. And then they got this new dude, Mercedes, I think it's a Mercedes, whatever. The dude is a baller, man. He's a fucking stud. So there's some risk. But overall, if we compare the two numbers from last year between McCullers and Plesac, I think, has the more impressive numbers. It's just that, you could argue that McCullers is the better matchup. Maybe not in terms of right now, right? The hotter team right now seems to be the Tigers. But in the grand scheme of things, we expect the White Sox offense to be better than the Detroit offense. Just an expectation, not necessarily a reality. Plesac did show significant hard contact rate differences. To lefties, it was all the way up to 37.5 as opposed to righties at 25.6. He's going to see some lefties here. We got some switch hitters. Yoan Moncada, Eaton's a lefty, Grandal's a switch hitter, Garcia's a switch hitter. So he's going to see some. See how he manages. And he's coming off of a game where the White Sox really struggled for runs. They didn't score a run at all yesterday. Beeman went 9 innings and didn't give up a run. Unfortunately, his team couldn't get the lead in time, so we didn't even get the win. Shows you the upside of Bieber. Bieber is the best pitcher in the AL, hands down. It's not even close. And DeGrom is the best pitcher in the NL. Suck it if you don't agree. Ha! But yeah, I like Plesac quite a bit. Dustin May. Dustin May looked really good in his last start. He completely destroyed the A's. Just annihilated them. Dustin May's a pretty good young pitcher here, man. He's got a 3.98 xFIP, 4.29 Sierra, significantly higher again than his ERA. Also had a really low BABIP, telling us that maybe he was a little bit lucky. His ground ball rates were pretty solid. Dimension wise, the park isn't Dodger Stadium. It's not as pitcher friendly as I thought it was. I still think it's fairly pitcher friendly, but based off the dimensions, it's not as much. Now, there's not a lot of humidity and shit like that in California, in some of these places, so that has something to do with it too. But the Rockies can strike out with the best of them. You got a couple guys like Fuentes, 18.8%, Tapia, 18.5%, Blackman, 20.6%. But then you got CJ Cron, 28.2% against righties, Hampson, 34%, McMahon, 36%, Story, 27.5%. So plenty of strikeouts to be had in this particular situation. Similarly to McCullers, the ground ball rate's pretty impressive, right? We like to work with things like that. So I think Dustin May is fine. He's at home against Colorado. Let's take a look. Suck it, bro. Give me what I'm looking for. Dustin May. He is expensive. Keep that in mind. 6 innings. It was only at 1 star. 6 innings. 2 hits, 2 walks, 8 Ks, 8 ground balls, 2 fly balls against the A's. Now, that was in Oakland Stadium, which is very big and has a lot of foul ground territory. And I think the most concerning part, at least for FanDuel, is that he only threw 85 pitches. So it could have just been like he went to 6 innings, and that's really all they're asking for of him. He is young, and they were a little cautious with him last year. But that's what the Dodgers do. They let Bauer go a little bit, but even Bauer, 7 innings, 99 pitches, they kind of let him go a little bit. But we know that's not really the Dodgers' MO. They like to rely on their bullpen. They like to try to preserve their pitchers' arms, all that bullshit. So, I don't know. On DraftKings, I'm certainly fine with it when we compare him to the other options. On FanDuel, that quality start is somewhat in jeopardy, but the matchup is good enough, I think, right? Rockies away from Coors, no Arenado anymore. So yeah, I like Dustin May, right? Don't you? I do, don't you? I like him. So far, all three of these guys look pretty good. And McCullers and Plesac, the BABIP and all that kind of stuff makes me a little bit nervous, but that is from last year. And Dustin May's another one too, right? 234. These are all significantly low batting average balls in play. Boom. But needless to say that none of these guys are guys I'm dying to pick on either. Leave it at that. Carlos Rodon against the Indians. So obviously he looked really good in his first start of the season. Then he missed the start for upset stomach because he had the runs, something like that. He played Seattle, 5 innings against Seattle, 95 pitches, did have 9 Ks. So again, quality start is a thing, right? He's one of those guys that will throw a lot of pitches, and I think that's why he's a little bit cheaper. Plesac, you got Plesac at 8,300, so that's tempting, right? There on FanDuel, I'm talking. They're both the same price on FanDuel. That's significantly. We're talking about like what is that? An $800 difference? I'm sorry, $1,200? No, $800 difference on DraftKings. And at the same price on FanDuel, and both relatively cheap. So Rodon does have strikeout upside. He didn't pitch very much last year, which is why we don't have any samples. If I pull up his 2019 numbers, he had a 29.1% strikeout rate in 2019, a 12.1% swinging strike rate. Now, he is playing an Indians team that doesn't usually strike out a ton. Now, they did lose Lindor in the offseason. We want to be mindful of things like that. But what Giolito did to these guys last night was pretty impressive. Now, looking at their numbers against lefties, like what's interesting is the Indians were not good against lefties last year. Their ISO was pretty pathetic. J-Ram did really well, 525 ISO, impressive. Naylor only had 9 plate appearances, so that's a wash. We had a lot of shitty fucking, like, Luplo, who was pretty much only a lefty. They only used him against lefties last year. 158 ISO. Cesar Hernandez, 127. Franmil Reyes, .043. Rosario, .036. Ahmed Rosario, .105. It can go on and on. They were just not good against lefties. So I think there's definitely a path to Rodon succeeding once again today against the Indians, because they just weren't good against lefties last year. The problem is the strikeout rates were also very low. Luplo 15.9, J-Ram 14.5, Rosario, as bad as he was, 14. The other Rosario, Ahmed Rosario, 8.3. So that's kind of the issue, is that the team sucks, but strikeouts are still king. Now, maybe that means that Rodon can go a little bit further if they're going to put the ball in play in a shitty way. But, blase. Zach Wheeler, kind of interesting, right? 8,400 on DraftKings, 9,700 on FanDuel. Like, what the fuck is up with that? In a revenge spot against his old team, the New York Mets. I'm sure he feels a little bit slighted. He didn't get the contract. Then the Mets kind of let him walk. I think the Mets would have signed him if it was just a couple years later, if we had the Steve Cohen thing. I do think the Mets would have signed him, but, we don't. And at that time, he had to walk because people didn't think he was worth it. And from a fantasy perspective, it was funny that last year, he was pretty good. He had a decent year last year, but his strikeout rates were just not great. 18.4%. He had a 10.8% swinging strike rate. Everything else was just regular Zach Wheeler. Ground ball rate was really good, 55.9. That's what he does. Hard contact rate was really low. That's what he did with the Mets. So, Wheeler's looking like one of the best options on the slate. And FanDuel priced him at 9.7 for that purpose. DraftKings, on the other hand, a little different. Now, the Mets lineup is pretty decent, especially against righties. Nimmo had a 230 ISO. Lindor 176, Dom Smith 328, Pete Alonso 277. We can go on and on. McNeil 179, Conforto 188, McCann 219. But there are some strikeouts in this Mets lineup. So Nimmo 17.6, not so great. Lindor 19.7, okay. Then we get to Dom Smith 22.8, Pete Alonso 24.1, Conforto 25.2, McCann 32.5, VR 28.7. So there's definitely some strikeouts in this team. The Mets are missing a couple players. They're missing at least one. JD. Can't think of his fucking name. JD Davis. I don't know. Some kind of Met fan of mine. I can't even remember the guy's name. Anyway, so yeah, I think the chances of Wheeler, and you combine that with some revenge narrative. This team that the Mets traded for him when he was young, and he had some really good years. He had some injury riddled years, and then coming off of a really great season, probably the best season of his career with the Mets, they just let him walk to a division rival nonetheless. So maybe there's a little bit of he wants to stick it to him a little bit, right? Phillies also got swept yesterday by the Mets in a doubleheader. So I mean, right now Wheeler looks pretty good, at least for tournaments. If you want to go somewhere else and cash with McCullers, Plesac, or May, I get it. But in tournaments, I think you got to be at least a little bit interested. And I'm curious to see what Wheeler's ownership is on FanDuel because he's the most expensive pitcher over there. So I'm wondering. I do think this 18.4% strikeout rate should have been higher, right? It wasn't the result thing, but I think it should have been higher, personally. Charlie Morton against the Miami Marlins. Miami did well for us yesterday, man. That was one of our favorite stacks. They went out and did the dirty. Shout out to them. Hey, listen, I'm not trying to brag like we got everything right. The Yankees stunk, but Toronto got us there. Miami got us there, and the Dodgers, man. I think I wrote up 4 stacks, and I think 3 of the 4 stacks did well, and the Yankees were the only ones that sucked. But I don't know. I gotta go back and look. Anyway, Charlie Morton last year, one of the more unlucky pitchers in the league. 355 BABIP led to a 4.74 ERA, which was significantly higher than his 4.01 xFIP and his 3.97 SIERA. Strikeout rate was still pretty solid at 24.7. I think he's a pitcher that has the talent to do a little bit better than that, but that was what it was. Let's see. Morton did have an 11.3% swinging strike rate last year, which is pretty solid. He didn't really, I don't want to say he struggled to lefties, but his metrics were a little higher, right? Give him a lot more hard contact to lefties. 52.4 opposed to 34.7 to righties. He did have more walks. That's a big one, 9% to lefties, 3.8 to righties. So these are things to take consideration of. Now, why do we like the Marlins so much yesterday? Because the Marlins, man, if you look at their numbers, they're pretty fucking good against lefties. Against righties, a little bit of a different story. You got Cedic at 135 last year. Marte was pretty solid at 188. Garrett Cooper, 125. Brian Anderson, 219. Duvall, 278. Duvall is red fucking hot right now. Then you got Chisholm, 111. Rojas, .097. Alfaro, 125. So, it is what it is. As far as strikeouts, that's really where we get interesting. Dickerson, 14.6. Obviously, Marte, 18.7. Rojas, 15.8. Those guys don't strike out a lot. Then you've got Cooper, 25.7. Brian Anderson, 31.1. Duvall, 29.1. Chisholm, 28.8. And then, of course, Alfaro, 37.1. So plenty of strikeouts to be had. And I'm wondering if people are going to back away a little bit, at least on FanDuel, because Miami did so well yesterday. And maybe they're just heating up. Listen, I'm not trying to shit on Miami. They did go to the playoffs last year, so I'm not trying to shit on them completely. But at the end of the day, when you look at their lineup, they still shouldn't be that great. And there's still plenty of strikeouts in this, right? So it's all about the business. You know what I'm saying? All about the business. So, yeah, I'm definitely interested in Mr. Charlie Morton. 7.6 on DraftKings, way too cheap for the upside. 85 on FanDuel. I mean, right now, he's looking like my favorite pitcher, to be honest with you. Full disclosure. A little spoiler for the article later. But, yeah, I'm digging him. I don't know. I'm digging Morton. Let's take a look at what he's done so far this season. Make sure I'm not missing anything crazy. 76 pitches in the first game, which is not great. But then 83 in the second, so it seems like they're gradually raising him. He played Philly twice. The first game was blah, gave up 3 earned runs. Only 5 Ks through 5 innings. Second game, 7 Ks through 6 innings, only 1 earned run. So there was some improvement. And Philly's a pretty good offense, man. They are, man. I'm taking it away from him. This time he's home, and he's playing Miami. So, yeah, I like Charlie Morton. Let's go. Giggity. John Gray. John Gray was pathetic last year. Horrendous numbers. John Gray was not very good in the spring either. We saw that there was a point last year where he was sent down, and everybody was wondering, why they sent him down? He's their best pitcher, and then you found out he wasn't. But so far this year, he's looked pretty good, and he's done it in cores, man. Both of his starts were in cores. 7 Ks in 5 innings against the Dodgers, only 1 earned run. 5 Ks against Arizona in 6 2/3 innings. 1 earned run. He's looked good, but he's playing the Dodgers this time away in Dodger Stadium. One of the more polarizing spots, man. The Dodgers offense starting off real hot, and best offense on the board today, right? According to the numbers. So there's certainly them in Atlanta, I guess, but certainly concerns here about what we're going to see from Gray. Yeah, we have very small samples to work with, but if I look at John Gray's numbers from this season, it's still not that great. He's got a 4.6 xFIP even with all this. His batting average balls in play is only 214, so it seems like he's been a little more on the lucky side. So his K rate to lefties is actually only 13.3. He's struck out about half the right-handed batters he's seen so far. But to lefties, and he's seen almost double the amount of lefties, 13.3. I gotta sneeze. And we're good. Wasn't sure. Most of the time I'm a double sneezer, but we're good. So yeah, I'm concerned. I think that the Dodgers. I mean, if you look at the Dodgers numbers, man, shit lights up like Christmas. It's just beautifully green, man. Beautifully green. And now we got Bellinger, who we're expecting to be out. That's a plus. But you still got Muncy and Seager, Gavin Lux, this McKinstry dude. I don't know. I get a little nervous attacking the Dodgers. I really don't ever like attacking the Dodgers. On a slate like this where the pitching isn't so clear, you don't want to waste a guy that's looked good, but I'm just not sold that John Gray is back. I think I'm going to lean more towards the Dodger bats. Because looking at his numbers from this season, it's just not great. Like I don't see anything that tells me that he's really that much improved. David Peterson. Let's talk about a guy getting lucky. 3.44 ERA last year, 5.11 xFIP, 5.26 Sierra. We were on Philly the last time these guys played. Ross Stripling scratched. We were on Philly the last time these guys played. We're going to be on Philly again tonight because this guy is just not that good. And as a Met fan, I'm just being honest. He's just not that good. Let's dig into some more metrics here with Mr. Peterson. Petey Pablo, if you will. I'm looking at this season. I got to go to last season. There we go. Yeah. So looking at Philly, man, one of the better teams in the league against lefties, man. We got these are all ISOs for the projected starting lineup. These are all ISOs, okay, from last year. Andrew McCutchen, 267. Hoskins, 390. Harper, 263. Remuto, 205. Baum, 243. Segura, 200. Gregorius, 266. Quinn, 265. Not one player with an ISO below 200 against lefties last year. Just phenomenal. They're really good. They don't strike out much against lefties, and this guy's not really a strikeout guy. So, yeah, it's looking pretty bleak. Philly looks like one of the best offenses on the slate. Now, they are playing in Citi Field, which is grading out as a middle-of-the-road park, but in reality probably plays more like a pitcher's park, right? We see teams struggle to score runs there. But, yeah, I'm not interested in Peterson whatsoever. I will be playing a lot of Phillies bats. That's just open and closed. Matt Harvey Day. But it looks like we're not going to get Matt Harvey Day because when I checked out the weather report from DFS meteorologist Kevin Roth, it's not looking great. He's got it as a red-orange. Says if the HRRR is right, whatever the fook that is, this game is a complete and total washout. I'm putting it as red-orange just because we were far enough away that maybe things change, but the likely outcome is a postponement announced here before we even get the lock. So, is what it is. That's what we're looking at. Unfortunately, we're probably going to lose this game, and it's just a travesty because really wanted to attack Matt Harvey with Seattle, but, it is what it is. It's going to make things more challenging, make people dig a little bit more. It is going to raise the ownership on some of the offenses I like probably Philly, which sucks, but it is what it is. But yeah, Matt Harvey, I'm just not sold that he's anything good. So if this game does happen to play, I do want Seattle. Let's go. Arihara going up against the Rays, man. We don't really got nothing on him, right? Because this is his first year. But we'll see what we got to work with. Arihana. You're not going to load for me. Oh, you're not going to load for me because we don't got no stats on this dude. You're just not going to do it. Okay, Arihara. So far, this guy's not looked great. Again, not a ton of sample to work with to be real, but so far, not so great. And it's been righties that he's really had the difficulty with. But again, I'm not trying to overreact. The sample sizes are just, tiny. But, I mean, yeah, the Rays offense looks pretty good. We don't have a ton to work with. This is a very good pitcher-friendly park, as you can see. But I'm just not impressed. Like, this guy's got a 5.4% strikeout rate so far this season. And I think he's had 2 starts. Now, I don't think he's gotten lit up that bad as he should have. Let me see. Yeah, he's given up 3 earned runs against Kansas City in the first game, 2 in the second to San Diego. So he hasn't even gotten really lit up as bad as he probably should have. That just tells me that it's coming, right? I don't know. I feel like it's coming. Has not struck out a single right-handed batter He's only struck out 11.1% of lefties he's faced. 55.6% hard contact rate to righties. There are a lot of lefties here, and he hasn't been as bad to lefties. But again, the sample is so small, it's hard to really justify using that. And you still got Randy Arozarena, who's a beast. You've got Yandy Diaz to combat with. So I mean, yeah, I think the Rays offense looks pretty good to me. I'm not pitching nothing to do with this dude, I can tell you that. Nick Neidhart, we attacked him with the Mets. That didn't work out. But now he's going to play Atlanta, who's a pretty fucking potent offense. Neidhart is another one whose numbers look pretty horrific so far this season. Last year, he didn't pitch much. What we did see of him wasn't great. Like 11.8% strikeout rate is what we saw. And I think his ground ball metrics are pretty good. He had 60% ground ball rate last year. I mean, how do you not like the Braves again? Braves were embarrassed yesterday. They are one of the top offenses in the league. So we're getting into the nitty-gritty of these offenses here. Yeah. I like the Braves. I like the Braves offense. I don't know what else to say. Miami's bullpen last year was one of the worst in the league, too. So if we get that far, we get even more dirties. Atlanta looks pretty good to start the season, too. Right? They lost yesterday only because Miami put up like a football score. But they put up runs, too. And then they put up 8 runs. Stack the Braves. We talked about this game potentially getting canceled. If it doesn't, I will certainly take shots on Baltimore's offense. 47% flat ball rate in this ballpark. Shit, I ain't them bit. So yeah, I don't want to talk too much about it because it looks likely the game's going to get washed. But if it doesn't, give me offenses on both sides. Let's go. Michael Fulmer against Detroit. Fulmer, I don't know what the fuck happened to this guy, man. At one point he looked pretty good. Now he just looks like dog shit. Yeah, last year was horrendous. He didn't pitch that much last year, but he was pretty horrendous. And he was particularly bad to righties, which is kind of scary when you consider like Altuve, Bregman, Correa, all coming off of a shitty game last night, Gurriel. And then the lefties are dealing with Brantley, Alvarez, and Tucker pretty damn fucking good. I like Houston's offense against this arsehole, if you will. You don't want to overreact too hard to the season he had last year. Maybe he's going to come on a, different fucking side of the bed or some shit. I don't know. But yeah, I think Houston's offense bounces back today against this cat. Fulmer is not going to pitch very long, I don't think. He did throw 4 innings against Cleveland. 68 pitches, though. So maybe they're slowly stretching him out. He actually did pretty well against Cleveland. 5 Ks in 4 innings. Against Minnesota, 2 innings. I don't know. Maybe he's looking. Is he resurging his career right before our eyes? Either way, I don't think it happens against Houston. Houston's a very tough team to strike out. So either way, I think he's actually looked really good so far this season, Fulmer. But I'm going to wait until he's a little more stretched out. He's still showing a little reverse splits action. And I'm going to wait till he's a little bit more stretched out. And, do dirties from there. Anyway, Nation, that's going to do it for us. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us this morning. A little bit later than usual. Pat, what's going on, bro? Good to see you, man. I'm sorry, I didn't even look at the chat, man. Good to see you, Pat. One of the newer members of the WiseTake Nation. He's been doing really good in NBA, man. But yeah, hit the like button. Let's do dirties tonight. NBA, MLB action. If you're doing the early slate, good luck. Break it down, dirty style for myself, the entire WiseTake Nation. As always, good luck.